So we're going to begin with our base notebook. We're going to need some A4 paper cut down to A5, some coloured paper or card. That's to mount each side, so we've got our front and back. And then we need a heavier weight card, so that can just be card from a cereal packet or something a little bit weightier if you've got it. That's going to be what we use to mount our printed fabric on top of, and will be the final cover for our notebook. So you're going to leave a little border here. So we're going to scale down this card to be about 3 centimeters in this case, 2 centimeters if you prefer a narrower border, and slice down the card accordingly. That's going to leave us a margin for our book binding. We want to line where our binding holes are going to begin. We're going to draw a line down here. Best to use a pencil for this bit because it means we can rub it out later. Okay, so we can get rid of our outer card for now. And then along this line we're going to mark our binding points. And we're simply going to use a needle to create holes that are going to travel all the way through from the front to the back of the notebook. Once you've got your pages all lined up, you can secure them top and bottom. We're going to bind using embroidery thread. So I've got this nice orange contrasting colour. You can also work with wax cotton or linen threads, but embroidery thread just comes in such a nice range of colours. It's fun to use. To begin binding, I'm going to start one hole down. So I'm going to skip one. I'm going to split my pages, and I'm going to introduce the thread in the center. So this means that as I pull through, we're going to be left with a little tail. We're going to leave about 5 to 6 centimeters and tuck that in. Okay, so that's going to be what we tie off our other tail with. From there, I'm going to go around to the other side of the notebook, and I'm going to travel through that hole again, coming up all the way to the top. Just careful not to split the embroidery thread and go through the thread itself, because you can wind up getting it tangled, so just make sure you're clear there. And guide the thread through. There we go. Okay, so just ensuring that you're not pulling too much to bring that tail that we've got in there back through. So I'm going to travel down towards my next point now, and this time I'm going to go all the way through to the back. Okay, so I'm basically mapping out this margin line that I've created. I'm going to come this time from the back to the front and go through the same hole. Following back, as I say, just being careful not to go through the thread if possible, as it just catches and it's more prone to knotting. Round it loops. And just square that up and tighten. Now we can travel on this side to our next hole, down along the margin. Sometimes you'll have to wiggle a little bit to get back through to the front. There we go. So this time I'm going to travel around to the back again, into the same hole. Squaring that up. Now, as I've got to the end here, I'm going to continue as if I was going straight, and that's going to bring me around the corner itself here and back into that hole that we've just come through. A little bit of catching there, so just ease it through. At this stage, we've got 3 sections have gone through this hole, so it's bound to catch a little bit, but just ease it through gently. And now we're traveling backwards, so we're sort of filling up the spaces here. Traveling back towards that hole. A little bit of persuasion, through it goes, to the back, filling up this space this time. Here we go. So as I come to this point, traveling along to the hole, there I go. Now I've got to the stage where my thread is doubling up, so just ensure when that happens that you're going back to a single thread there. Then I'm going to loop back in to this hole once more. Around this end. And then finally, our last section. Now, when we get to this final point, we're going to be meeting the tail that's already in the center of the notebook. So at this stage, because it's secure, we can get rid of these. And we can find that little tail. There it is. So keep the book split at that point. Into the last hole, but only travel through to that center point. That completes our binding. And then if we split our notebook, we can trim our tail back there to begin with, and we're going to knot those 2 tails off. It says a secure knot in it, it can be trimmed back, and those little bits will just bury themselves in the spine. So there we have our nicely bound notebook. That's our base, and now we're going to have a look at creating our printed cover for it. To make our block prints, we are going to use Funky Foam. Okay, so you can get that in most craft stores, and we are going to be using cardboard as our base. So this is just an old cardboard box. We'll need Pritt Stick to attach our foam, scissors, and then when it comes to paint for our printing, I'm working with acrylics, but you can use poster paints as well.